Tony, I'm gonna.
My nigga too for the goat, these other niggas basic.
Say what? No nigga wrist a silver chain around the neck. Say what? A.T.L show coming for their neck. Say what? We gon' say it all different from the rest. Say what? A.T.L show, know that we the best. Say what? Yo, who was that? A.T.L show coming live, speak about the world. Know that we is still. We got Anthony, TeAma, Legacy, the podcast. On God, we taking over with the A.T.L show.
My nigga too for the goat, these other niggas basic.
Say what? No nigga wrist a silver chain around the neck. Say what? A.T.L show coming for their neck. Say what? We gon' say it all different from the rest. Say what? A.T.L show, know that we the best. Say what? Yo, who was that? A.T.L show coming live, speak about the world. Know that we is still. We got Anthony, TeAma, Legacy, the podcast. On God, we taking over with the A.T.L show.
If you don't know T.S. Madison,
the internet queen and icon.
get ready.
Yes!
She's not just chasing superstardom.
I want to have my own version of the talk, the real, the view.
She demands it.
You better build a whole entire empire out of this.
And with her bestie Tiffany on board,
Tiffany, you look so beautiful this morning. Your tatas are sitting so high.
this journey's gonna be a trip.
I just got a shiver in my back and it ain't a man.
The T.S. Madison Experience premieres Thursday, March 4th on WeTV.
Just-in-time accessories definitely have the bling and everything in between. TeAma Copeland is your independent paparazzi agent. Join her live online Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join her on Facebook at TeAma Sweetness Copeland or her fan page, Just-in-Time Accessories, or you can find her on YouTube at Teama Herice. That once again is Just-in-Time Accessories. Everything is only $5. Nickel and lead-free jewelry. TeAma Copeland, independent paparazzi agent. Just-in-Time Accessories definitely have the bling and everything in between. Check her out.
Hey, welcome. Get in here. We have a wonderful show for you guys tonight. I'm Anthony Brown. Welcome to the Anthony Brown Show by way of the A.T.L show. I'm joined by my very special guest and my co-host. I have the very lovely Miss TeAma.
Hello, you guys.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Don't do that.
Okay. And I also have Legacy, the great, the wonderful, the sensation, the eat 'em up, the lick 'em down, the all that in a bag of chips.
A.T.L ho.
And then we're joined also by our very own Mr. Don Allen Lowe, Apostle Don Allen Lowe.
GA in the building.
What's happening, people? What's happening?
GA in the building.
Make sure you guys go on Don Allen on Mondays and Wednesdays. He has a show called The Chill Zone. It's on fire behind him. And tonight's topic, as you all know, is would you sleep with someone that's HIV positive or full-blown AIDS? And we have a person that works with the HIV industry, Mr. Rodney. Rodney, introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, real quick. My name is Rodney Roberts. Thank y'all for having me on your show. I do work in the field of HIV/AIDS prevention, basically. And it's kind of funny that you refer to it as the AIDS industry, like it's a whole industry. But no, it is what it is. But yeah, I work in HIV prevention, so that's why I'm here to speak on, I guess, some viral loads and some U equals U, undetectable equals untransmittable sort of stuff. So thank you for having me again.
Rodney Rod, what's good, baby?
Everything's blessed, Mr. Legacy. Mr. Legacy. Haven't seen you in a minute, guys. I see you now.
Yeah. We're gonna definitely catch up. I got some stuff I need to share with you.
No problem.
I just want to also remind everybody that for the month of May and also the month of June, we want to do a shout out and we want to highlight the mothers and the fathers. So we would like for all children to send us a 5-minute video, 5 minutes or less, telling why you think your mom is so great, and have your mom in the video with you. So you're going to be highlighting and uplifting your mother for May and highlighting and uplifting your fathers for June. That's in 2 separate videos, 5 minutes or less. The email is right there, TheAnthonyBrownShow@gmail.com, and we will play the videos during the month of May for the mothers and during the month of June for the fathers. So let's get with it, guys. Let's showcase your parents. Okay. Now, just to get back to what we're doing, a legacy. Started doing for the month of February, Black History Month, a segment called Our History of Black History with Legacy the Great. So, Mr. Legacy, you ready over there?
Yes. Tonight we'll be giving tribute to the Haitian Revolution and how they got their. It seemed to have gotten their independence from the French, but tonight is going to highlight a few different things. It's going to be 2 separate little small videos that's going to break down what we knew and what we didn't know about the Revolutionary War for Haitians and from the French. It's just, I was blown away because I know I didn't know. I haven't studied that much about the Revolutionary War or the independence of Haitians, but I knew a little bit about it. But this was pretty informative, and I just want to give kudos and props to those individuals who laid their lives down, who said that they would rather die before they be someone else's instrument. And I would like to just give props to them, and let's do it, Tony.
Let's go.
French Saint-Domingue was the richest colony in the Americas in the 18th century due to the production of products like coffee, tobacco, and cotton. But because of the importation of slaves, very distinct and often hostile ethnic groups lived side by side. There were around 20,000 whites, divided between wealthy planters and the less powerful petty blancs, teachers, merchants, and the likes. And although the petty blancs were largely loyal to France, the planters favoured independence because it would allow them to export their crop to more countries rather than just to France. Otherwise, there were 30,000 free persons of colour, many of which were mixed race and lived in the south. Some of them went on to own slaves themselves and had more power than the petty blancs. However, they lacked some rights within the French system, so like the planters, they were largely pro-slavery and pro-independence. But the bulk of the population was made up of 500,000 slaves, which lived in notoriously bad conditions. And they often rose up, for instance, in 1759, some poisoned their masters as part of the A.T.L rebellion. Plus, many slaves, known as Maroons, managed to escape the plantations and lived in the mountains. Tensions between these groups escalated when the French Revolution broke out and the population had to choose between independence, monarchy, republicanism, slavery, etc. And in 1789, the Declaration of the Rights of Men also brought up the citizenship question. This is because slavery was not banned outright, and voting rights were later also granted to property owners, meaning petty blancs could not vote, but many free persons of colour could. So, in early 1791, some petty blancs seized Port-au-Prince, forcing the French to send thousands of troops to the island to restore order. Meanwhile, Vincent Auge, a free person of colour, returned from France, hoping to force the colonial government to grant the right to vote to all free black men. This was rejected, so with around 300 men, he led an unsuccessful rebellion in late 1790 around Cap Francois. Meanwhile, as all this was going on, many slaves were able to escape and join the Maroons. And in August, outside Cap Francois, many Maroons met and held a secret voodoo service. There they selected their leaders to start a slave rebellion, including George Biassou and Jean-Francois Papillon. And just a week later, the rebellion began. Within just a couple of months, the slave army grew to tens of thousands, and they destroyed hundreds of plantations and killed thousands of whites. And in the chaos, the free persons of color, now led by André Rigaud, also led a small rebellion in the south demanding the right to vote. The French revolutionary government sent Sotonax to the colony to try and restore order in 1792. He successfully made an alliance with Rigaud and began talks with the new rebel slave leader, Toussaint Louverture. But in early 1793, the situation changed drastically. The French beheaded King Louis and went to war against most of Europe. So the British Navy prevented supplies from reaching the island, and the Spanish began arming the slave rebels in the north. Plus, the colonies became split once again on issues like republicanism and independence. And Galbord, the French general in charge of Cap Francois, had ambitions of bringing the surviving French royals to Saint-Domingue and began to conspire with the British. So to counter this new threat, Sonthonax promised freedom to thousands of slaves if they agreed to fight for him in mid-1793. They successfully defeated Galbord, but thousands of whites fled, and in September the British landed in Jeremy. They were welcomed by many whites in Saint-Domingue because they promised to reinstate slavery and suppress rights of free persons of color. So towns like Mont Saint-Nicolas, an important naval base, surrendered to the British peacefully, and they later took Port-au-Prince. The remaining French were therefore fighting the British, Spanish-backed slave rebels who controlled the north and west, and amongst each other. But this changed in February 1794, when the French government in Paris finally agreed to abolish slavery, plus in Europe the Spanish were losing to the French. So the French commissioners withdrew and gave colonial authority to André Rigaud, who consolidated power in the south. Then in May, Toussaint Louverture, for disputed reasons, decided to switch allegiances and fight for the French. Many of his old allies, including early leaders Biassou and Papillon, turned against him because of this. But with the help of his competent generals, Henri Christophe and Jean-Jacques Dessalines, he was able to crush the opposing slave rebel leaders. Louverture therefore controlled the north, while Rigaud held the south, and together they began to attack the British. The Spanish influence over the slave rebellion ended, and in mid-1795 the French defeated them in Europe, and were granted the eastern half of the island, but they didn't assert their authority over it. The French tried to send governors to the island to try and maintain loyalty and control, but by late 1795 it had become clear that slavery was over. However, a war for power between the free persons of color and former slaves would soon break out.
Now, that was just a little snippet of to get you going about how it actually take place. But as a gentleman that's going to do a video next is really going to inform us on some things that is still going on today. And it's been going on right up on our nose, even to the point to where the United States of America has played a part in this. So, Tony, let's do it.
Wow. This is so interesting.
So Haiti is the poorest country in the world. However, you might be very surprised to find out why Haiti is the poorest country in the world. Haiti was one of the richest places on the planet in the 1700s. Population of Haiti was 4-to-1 slave to free Frenchmen. So you basically had about 450,000 slaves there and 120,000, 125,000 free Frenchmen and women, led by a slave named Toussaint.
YouTube stopped it.
Well, anyway,
they don't want us to know the truth.
What it was, it basically tells us that Haiti went with all those 420-some thousand slaves and 120-some 25,000 freemen. Haiti, once they went to war with the Frenchmen, they actually defeated the French. And what happened is the French left. And because Haiti is a kind of big place when the slaves felt they had power over it. They didn't have enough gunpowder and nothing to remove all the Frenchmen out of the country. So they allowed them to stay close to the water. Well, anyway, the French went away for like 3 or 4 years, and everything was good. And then all of a sudden, the French came back, but they came back with battleships. Well, they would be considered battleships, but they came back with ships and hundreds and thousands of men on these ships to actually come back and raid Haiti again, but this time to kill up everybody. And what they said was this little land that's right here, we would hate for something bad to happen to it. So what they did, the Haitians decided to make a deal with the Frenchmen, which would allow them to keep their own land and their lives, and they would have to pay them like $5 billion. And every year since that date, Haiti has been paying France close to hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to be able to keep that land and to keep them from being able to go to war with France. And right now they're in debt to France right now due to the fact that they haven't been able to produce the type of money that they used to with that country being so poor. But the only reason that country is so poor is because they can't take care of themselves because they have to pay this debt that they owe to France about their own land. Well, right now, Haiti is trying to get the world's court to intervene in the matter, and they are requesting that France pay back all the money that they've taken from them. But the funny thing was this: is as I watched that video, is the United States has a little something to do with it, and that is the United States has a bank that's here called Citibank. We know about Citibank. Citibank was a bank that at that time that was receiving funds from these other little inklings of money that was coming out of Haiti. And a lot of people, well, we wouldn't have known, we weren't born, but a lot of people didn't know that the United States was semi-oppressing Haiti too. That's how the United States has a base, which is important, what we call it, what tourist area in Haiti, and that's through Port-au-Prince. And it all started because Citibank has a little fortune that it draws from Haiti every year. And it's just sad that these people are still being oppressed, singing that they're free when they're still paying debt and homage, or I wouldn't even call it homage. I would say they're just like they're paying for their freedom. And France walks around here every day as if they are such a great country, but yet and still they have these people paying for their freedom every year. I wish I could have let y'all see the video because the man talked so eloquently about this matter. And it's kind of like what Dunn Allen said. You know, when you go to producing and showing truth, and they control these media sites, so they have the right to stop us. You know what I'm saying? Of anything like that. And it's just funny how, up until I added the United States into the conversation, it was playing fine. And I think they got little keywords and things that we can say on here that can trigger them into stopping videos and things. Sorry, I couldn't give you the gist of but I would like to just give a shout out and honor those heroes who laid their lives on the line for their freedom or trying to get their freedom, because it's sad that we got people here in the United States that got more freedom than they do, and we walk around here and won't die for nothing but bullshit. We'll go around here and kill each other for sneakers and for goddamn race cars and all this type of stuff, some pussy and all this, but won't even stand up for injustices right here in front of you all day long with this country. I'm out here.
But with that, their debt that they owed, they told them $1 trillion when it comes to Haiti. And to be Pacific, it was more than, I want to say 57, Mom, if I'm correct, 57 ships. And if you ever been to Haiti, which I have numerous of times, that many ships just done surrounded that whole island.
Yes.
So, yes. It is what it is, but it has been that way. And no, America been knowing about it. So if you have bank with Citibank, you are helping people still be in slavery.
Well, there you have it. Our history, Black history, with none other than Mr. Legacy the Great. We appreciate you, Mr. Legacy.
Thank you, thank you.
Actually, you know, I was telling TeAma the other day, and I was talking to a friend of mine. Actually, every show that we do, and you're doing the Black History segments, every show I actually learns something new. You know, and I'm probably always years old, and
yeah, that's true. You are.
I'm that old. I'm years old, and
Dirt.
I'm that old.
Okay.
and you know, and I don't tend to think that I know it all, but it's so amazing that when you come on here, it's like, wow, you know, I just learned something new. It's like I didn't know that, and that's so sad. You know, that a lot of stuff they're hiding from us in our textbooks.
Yes.
That is crazy.
Oh, my bad. And I meant
let
to
me
say
tell you, a
this.
lot of stuff, Tony, some stuff may be hidden to you, but a lot of stuff is not hidden to America. They will know it, see it, and just prefer not to deal with it. That's the truth of the matter.
To piggyback off of TeAma and you, Tony, I meant to tell you because the man was gonna say it. He says at the end where they asked the historians when it came down to talking about this stuff in the American history. And they said where the people told the people that school curriculums don't need to have this stuff in it. But we can have all this. Let me ask y'all a question. Just tell me this. Just tell me this. And I want Mr. Rodney. I want Mr. Rodney to give me his input on this. What is it, bro? Check this here out, right? What is the definition of a terrorist?
Someone who's doing something against your government.
Okay. What'd you say, Rodney?
That's wow. I thought I was here for HIV, man. I'm here to talk about HIV and all that stuff. I would say anyone that presents a threat that presents a threat to you, that causes terror in a sense, hurt, harm, or danger to another individual or group of people. I mean, you know, that causes trauma in the form of violence. That would be a terrorist to me.
TeAma, you go
Hey,
with
baby. Huh?
You roll with what they say?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Now let me give y'all something. Would you consider George Washington, Paul Revere, Crispus Attucks, Thomas Jefferson, would you consider these individuals who are considered to be our forefathers of our country, would you consider them to be terrorists? Because the things that they did to get freedom from Great Britain would have all the right in the world to call them terrorists. They fought against the regime. They fought against the regime of Great Britain. Guess what they was asking for? They was asking for freedom. And they wanted to be able to have their own money and do what they wanted to do in their own land. Isn't that what most people call patriots in the United States? We call that being a patriot here in the United States.
Well,
so
I'm with you. I agree with you. First and foremost, you know what I mean, I say to all all my Haitian brothers and sisters that's, you know what I'm saying, watching. I'm born and raised American here, but Kupechet Bulekai. You understand? I get it. So when you look at those men that you just called out and any women that was helping them, they were not doing the damage or causing what you would say is terror in England or Britain. They were here, and so they came here, and so at that point you would call them, I guess, I don't know, runaways or rebels. They're rebels at that point, trying to get their own freedom. So when the Britain or the redcoats came here to try to capture them, or you know what I mean, to try to stop what they were doing, that's a free fall. Like, hey, you like get it.
But check this, Rodney. When the United States of America decided that they wanted to invade Iraq, Saudi Arabia, what they said is they were going into another country to give people rights, women rights to be able to do what other women do here in the United States.
Right.
To bring, you can't say that it's okay that when Great Britain came here to bring their ass back and put them back up under that regime,
right?
And they bucked, so they went to war because they were fighting for their freedom. But you went and said that Saddam Hussein, who was minding his own business in his own country, who ain't got no goddamn planes to fly over here, that he was causing terror in the United States. Stop it.
I'm agree with you for the sake. I'm gonna agree with what you're saying because I get your point. The only thing is you went from a few hundred years ago to a few decades ago, and it's like, but I get the overall point. Mm-hmm. I do, and I agree with you. I believe I want to agree with you.
It'll be the safest thing to do.
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
Let's go to work, y'all. Let's go to work.
Miss Millionaire, how you doing,
Okay, hey everybody.
On that note, I have a few commercials and we're gonna get right into the topic of the night. That was the clip from Miss Savon's show. Miss Savon has a show every Saturday evening on YouTube also. She's known as America's favorite auntie. So make sure y'all join on the Savon Experience. Let's see here.
One of the best parts of life is when you can admit the truth to yourself about yourself. Cyberspace is a world where one can become something he isn't, but everything he dares to be. I wasn't interested in getting attached to anyone, and I knew I wouldn't take anyone I met online seriously. I had multiple screen names to increase my chances of meeting someone attractive. The majority of the profiles noted HIV negative under status, but I knew better from the work I had done in the HIV community. I knew 1 out of 3 black gay men was positive. The messages I found in my inbox validated me in my depression. In some strange way, they reinforced that I was worthy and deserving. My days consisted of waking up and logging on to see how many messages had accrued overnight. Months passed before I got honest with my therapist about what was happening with me. And before I knew it, I heard myself say, I've been having sex with people I meet online. To listen to more of Words Never Spoken in Memoir, visit audible.com.
And the last commercial.
Miss Millie Mill in the building.
Yes, yes. Miss Millie's in the comments. But Craig, the writer Stewart, he was the one that had the commercial before Miss Millie, about his books, and I actually have both of his books, and they're really, really good reads. So definitely check out Craig, the writer Stewart. But anyway, we're back to tonight's topic, and that's with Mr. Rodney.
Right. Thank you for having
Councilman.
me. Councilman. 1111. I see now. I didn't know what to expect.
Okay, the topic again is: would you sleep with someone HIV positive or full-blown AIDS? And what brought this question up, Rodney? A couple of weeks ago, we were just randomly having conversation, and it was after one of our shows. And when we go out off the air for the world to see, sometimes we talk amongst ourselves for a few minutes before we venture off home. And in the midst of having our conversation, we had brought up the topic, would you or would you not? And of course, it was seen from both angles. Some people say yes, some people say no. And I didn't want to get into a tisk task or a fight or whatever, not being knowledgeable. Because I know at my age, so many things have changed from when HIV first surfaced back in the 80s. Okay. So yeah, I'm telling my age now. So way back in the 80s and the late 70s, when HIV first came about, things have changed drastically, since then.
For the good.
Yeah, for the good. And so Legacy, of course, said he definitely would not have sex with somebody with HIV.
I'm sure he had his reasons.
Yeah, he has his reason. I, of course,
said hell no.
Only person said yes was me.
Nasty.
Because I'm very educated.
I said no because lack of knowledge. Because I think things have changed that it can happen and still be safe. But nevertheless, I wanted someone with your expertise on the panel. And TeAma, like I said yes. So we have you on to give us the insights on the do's, don'ts, the pros and cons, the yays and no's. Where's going now? Which way is it headed?
Rodney can be Dr. Fauci right now. I still gonna goddamn say no.
Mello be killing me because he gonna say no real quick with the nice way.
Do you think, Rod?
All right, so let's talk. We're talking about let me see. When a person first contracts HIV, that's when they are at their most infectious state. We're talking about millions of copies of HIV being produced inside the human body at that point. Again, they're at their most infectious state. That's within the first few weeks of infection. That's before the body can start generating antibodies. Everybody know what antibodies are now with the COVID situation.
Because no one knows, because we don't know what our viewers know.
So the antibodies is what your body produces in response to any particular virus that may come into the body that does not have any business there. They're tailor-made for whatever disease or whatever virus comes into your body to try to stop the virus or to protect you against the virus. So again, we're talking about millions of copies in the beginning. So let's fast forward to what we call antiretroviral medications. These are medications that help your body fight against the HIV virus, help to strengthen your blood, your white blood cells, help to strengthen your immunity, if you will. So we go from millions of copies of the virus to hundreds of copies of the virus. All right. And at the point when you cross the threshold of 200 copies of the virus or less, you are considered undetectable. Okay. And what we know from the CDC is that if you reach that undetectable level, or when you reach that undetectable level, you are unable to transmit the virus sexually.
Okay.
But way before that, way back before we knew what HIV was, we had these things called condoms. And at your simplest form of protection as a condom, or with a condom, when you use a condom properly, it is 99.8% effective against spreading the HIV virus.
99.8.
99.8.
So that 1.2% is what we're afraid of.
Yes.
That's understandable. I mean, but the reality is,
right,
is 99.8% effective. And I think that they just, don't want to tell you 100% because then they would be liable. But for that point. So, and when you look at it, the question itself is kind of to the side, to a side. And I thought about it, I'm like, people that have HIV have more at risk than you do. Because
bro, you are dumb.
In actuality, I mean,
not you right now.
No, he's talking about his brother in the comments.
That's in the comments.
Okay. But yeah, people that have HIV have to look at you and be like, am I going to take a chance with you? Because they don't necessarily know what you have. And you have to understand that HIV is not as easy as it is, and as many millions of people that have contracted it and have died from it, it is not the easiest STI or STD to contract. So you have way more people with gonorrhea, syphilis, herpes, trichomoniasis. You have way more people around here with those infections than you do with HIV. And at this point, 2021, we treat HIV as basically a chronic illness. The medications, they work. You have people that live longer with HIV than you do with people that don't have HIV, and they perfectly fine out here, living life willy-nilly, doing what they're big enough to do. People that have HIV typically are the ones taking care of themselves, watching their diets, watching things like that, exercising, because they want to live. And you can't tell whether or not, you can't look outside or go to a concert or something and just, that person has HIV. That's not
right.
You can't do that. The finest one in the room may have it, but you can't hold that against them. And again, untransmittable. You understand? Taking care of themselves. So again, I say that it's more like, do they want to be bothered with you? It works both ways. What's up? What is all this? Is there a fly in the room?
Check this here, Rod. I'm loving the information, and that's why preference is great, and that's why being able to choose something for yourself. Because let me ask you a quick question before I elaborate on that. By you saying that a person that's being HIV positive, they are more healthier. Well, not let's say healthy, but peculiar in who they date and how they have intercourse, because they don't know what, like you say, another person has. And if that person has a disease or has another form of HIV strand, it makes their HIV strand mutate.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that it makes their HIV strand mutate. They can take on that new strand.
Right.
That genetic makeup of it.
Right. That because I had an uncle who had it, and it happened to him. And at that time, in the early 2000s, they were saying it was mutating. They didn't say it took on. It said his strand and the other person's strain transformed into a different strain. That's where his meds no longer could work on what he had in him. He had to get a different viral pack because it had mutated.
Understood.
From what he normally was taking, he was fine. But once he got reinfested or with the other strand, it became something different.
Right.
And so the medicine that he was taking prior to he got reinfected, it no longer worked against
You're
that
correct,
strain
Mark.
that he had in him.
Mr. Legacy.
So yes.
In your narrative, whether the second strand came in and it mutated the first strand, or the second strand came in, which was a totally different strand from what he had.
Right.
You don't really, you understand what I'm saying? It's a different strain now introduced into the body. You had the medication that was working with the one strand. It doesn't work with this strand. And so, and you have to understand that if you look at the list of medications for HIV, it's a nice, big, long list, and all different, it's long. And so you have to understand that from the 80s to now, we had to go through those different medications to get to the medications that we have now. All medications didn't work for everybody. And yes, and some people have gone through all the different medications as the virus has mutated in their body, and it stopped working for them. So even if depending on what year it was and what time it was, even if your aunt may not have ran into that person, that's not to say that the medication wouldn't have stopped working anyway, and he would have had to go to the new medication. Then as advances came in medication, because you have people taking cocktails with like 6, 7, 8, 9 pills, at once. Then as the medications got better, now now you have to take is 4 pills. Now you have to take is 2 pills. Now you have to take is 1. And then as those advances came, the 1 pill may not have worked or the 2 pills may not have worked for everybody. So it's trial and error in that sense. But we are where we are today with U equals U, undetectable equals untransmittable. And you can have sex, and you know what? They have this thing called PrEP now with the pre-exposure prophylaxis, where the person that don't have HIV can take that medication, and it's going to prevent you from contracting the HIV virus. Mind you, if the person that you're with is undetectable in and of themselves, that's just you gotta. And they still want you to, and even if you're one of those persons that's wilding out on the weekends or all week and you're taking PrEP, they still want you to use condoms with the 99.8% effect.
So it's like a condom on the inside.
Exactly. Prophylaxis protection.
Is PrEP a liquid or a pill? What is PrEP?
PrEP is right now it's a pill. They are developing more forms of PrEP, but right now the industry standard, I guess it would be a pill.
So PrEP is for the person that's non-HIV positive.
Right, stands for pre-exposure prophylaxis.
So they would take the PrEP and go out and wild out.
Yeah.
Okay.
They will. But again, I say it's a commitment. It's not like you just take this pill like Popeye taking a can of spinach and you go do your thing. You need to be on that for a minimum of 7 days prior to engaging in this risky sex, so that the medication can be inside your body and be there.
Already build up inside of this.
Yeah.
So the organization you with that's Found Care?
I do work for Found Care.
Okay. Is there another organization or company you work for, or is that just exclusive to them?
As far as HIV prevention outreach, yes, I do not moonlight Found Care. There's we're not conflicting nothing.
Illegal.
Okay. So with your organization, what services do you offer there?
We offer, you can come and get the protection that we're talking about. We can get you PrEP if you come in and you want to talk about PrEP. If you do have HIV, we offer case management services. So but the Found Care is a community health center. It's a federally qualified community health center. So we have primary care physicians, we have pediatrics, we have for the kids, we have dentistry for everybody. We have we do it all. We do it all.
Right. Look at the bottom of the screen. That's for you.
The people okay, so HIV infection has 3 different stages. Okay? It has 3 different stages. The first stage would be the acute stage in the beginning, where it's like I said, you're most infectious, where your body has not produced the antibodies that will start protecting you from the virus, and that lasts about maximum 6 months. And what I mean when I say 6 months is when you take an HIV test, you're basically taking an antibody test. That test more than likely is looking for the HIV antibody. It's not looking for the actual virus itself at that time. So during that acute stage, when you take that test more than likely is going to come up negative. Your person will have the virus, but the test is going to come back negative because your body has not produced enough antibodies to show up on the test, or the test is not sensitive enough to pick it up. Now, the second stage would be the clinical latency stage. That's the stage that everybody might say, oh, HIV is just y'all laughing.
No, Rodney.
No, we laughing at his brother.
My brother.
Tony need to stop putting mellow stuff where we can see it.
No, I know, but I wanna laugh too. But
okay. Go ahead, Rod.
The clinical latency stage. That's the stage where everybody feels like, oh, it remains dormant and it's not going to show up. It's there, and that stage in and of itself can last about 10 years. All right. So just imagine how many people a person can sleep with in 10 years in that stage.
So now, Rod, you're saying that the HIV can lie dormant in a is that what you're saying?
I don't like using the word dormant because HIV is doing what it does. You understand? And people get that confused with a negative test. And I'm saying that if a person has HIV for at least 6 months, at the most 6 months, the test is going to come back positive. At that point, after 6 months, the test is going to come back positive. The only way the test is not going to come back positive is if there's something wrong with that test. You understand? Because a test can give you a false negative.
So, Rodney, how many tests would you say a person needs to take in a year for he or she to be considered HIV negative?
All right, let me give you this scenario. You meet a person, right? 2 people meet. Y'all go get tested together, right?
Right.
The test comes back negative. You are not free to have sex unprotected at that point.
Right.
You continue using protection for 3 months. Okay? 3 months, go back, get tested again. If that test comes back negative, you clear. Okay? And I hope that
so no raw meat until after the 90-day period.
Right.
He's finding a way to try to get to the nasty side. He's gonna always find a way. Always.
Now let me go back to the question, please, because I didn't answer the question yet. So the last stage, the final stage of HIV infection is AIDS. That is when the HIV virus has broken down the immune system to the point where the body can no longer protect itself against opportunistic infections. And opportunistic infections are just infections that take advantage of the body's weakened immune system. So a person is diagnosed as having AIDS once their T-cell level drops below 200 copies per cubic milliliter of blood, or they contract an opportunistic infection. If the T cells are above 200 and they contract an opportunistic infection, they still will be diagnosed as having AIDS. So the difference, the difference is, again, AIDS is the late stage and the final stage of HIV infection.
So at this moment, when people are taking these treatments, right? The only thing that the medication is treating at that time is HIV, or is it medication that can cause the white blood cell count to go up to where they can come back out of the HIV stage? I mean, excuse me, the AIDS stage.
I say it all the time. I say once a person is diagnosed as having AIDS, that diagnosis stays like a felon, if you will. Person can be a healthy body has anywhere from 700 to 1400 T cells, a healthy body. So even if the person, if the white blood cell count rises back to that level, beyond, if you will, that label of AIDS will still be in their doctor's notes, if you will. Yeah.
So it's pretty much no recession, or not recession, but what do they call it? Remission. There's no remission. Once you get to the level of being AIDS,
you pretty much know where you're going from there.
No. Don't get it twisted. That is a label. It is a diagnosis.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with the health of the person at that point. You understand what I'm saying? The person can be on their deathbed and come back and be healthy as, Magic Johnson is, and it's not a thing of the health of the person at that point. It's just a label. Just like when I use the word felon, I'm talking about a person that's a felon, and you can come back from being incarcerated and be the best person in the world, but you still have that tag on you.
Stigma. Yep.
Yeah, that's basically what we're talking about in the clinical sense.
So you can have the AIDS, because you were saying something about the T cell count or the numbers or whatever.
Right.
So could you either through health, dieting, and eating build your T cell back up?
That's what I'm saying. Your T cell level will be back up. You will not be Again, when I try to compare it to the slave, I mean not the slave, but the felon tag. It's a tag. It's not the condition of the person at that point. It's like you've been diagnosed before, so it's just there. It has nothing to do with the overall. You could have perfect health at that point and be good. You know you're good, but you've been diagnosed prior to, so it's like it's just there in your jacket. It's just there in your doctor's note that this person has been there. Okay. Did I miss a question? Did somebody ask a question?
So,
go ahead.
When it comes to AIDS, because I had a goddad that died from HIV, and my mom had a really close childhood friend that literally died from HIV. When they get to the HIV part, when they're throwing up blood and stuff like that, what form is that considered? Because anytime I done heard of someone that has HIV, not HIV, AIDS, they literally die. And half of the time, it don't be from their immune system is so low. It don't be from the AIDS itself. It normally be they caught a common cold that turned into a flu or something like
pneumonia.
Yeah. So I'm like, in the community, we always thought once you made it to AIDS, that was the final done data.
Right. And those are the stories that you know of that didn't come out well. You have plenty of stories where people go into the hospital sick, might be like what you're talking about, but they get the medications that they need inside the hospital, even if they have to stay in there for a few days. they bounce back. They back out on the street like, hey, I'm here. They may have thought that they were finna leave, but they not. They here. They still here. And I mean, you have people that have been here 30, 40 years, like they still here. They good people. Like,
I actually commend you, Rodney, because I remember one time I saw you, and when I first realized this is what you did, I was at an event, and everybody know I have a business online, exoticworldmasters.com, where I sell fragrances, and I had my table set up at this event selling my fragrances, and you were out there passing out condoms and passing out cards and flyers and booklets and this and that, and I was like, oh, so that's what you do, so. And so you were out there, you was like the disciple, going out into the land and tell my people. You were going out to the people.
I walked up on a brother just yesterday. The brother was like, you ain't no Jehovah's Witness, are you? Like, nah, bro. I'm trying to hook you up, help you save yourself out here. So, yeah, it's cool. Did I answer the young lady's question? Did I do it to your satisfaction? Tyler Friedman, did I answer your question to your satisfaction?
Was it Tyler you said?
Yeah, Tyler.
Yeah. What's the difference between HIV and AIDS?
Right.
Yeah, I just want to make sure if I answered to the satisfaction.
Kamal said something after Tyler. I don't know if he had a question in there.
I think the problem comes into play when an HIV positive person engage with sex another and don't. Oh, most definitely. I mean, but again, that is where personal responsibility comes into play. Nobody is making, like, I can't remember what president like shut down the borders where people that had HIV couldn't come into the country, but I know Obama lifted that ban and let people that have, because
thanks, DA.
And I say it's because people are not making you have sex with anybody for the most part. You can be responsible and go get tested and get the person that you want to have sex with tested, and that's just, standard operating procedure, if you will, 2021.
Rod.
Yo.
Isn't it, now I know like in Georgia, as far as I can remember, if you have tested positive for HIV, and this is through, because once you get that test information, whether it's from the hospital or doctor, your primary care physician, they have to report that back to the CDC, correct?
Yes.
Once you have that in your jacket, and you know that you're HIV positive, after doing several tests and retesting, you got it. If you sleep with an individual and you did not inform them that you are HIV positive, and they contracted, or let's say you found out that this is something that, and you go get tested, you don't have it, you can be charged with voluntary manslaughter and attempted murder in the state of Georgia, because you knew that you had it, but you did not inform the other person. Because they're not gonna, yes, I do think personal responsibility is something that everybody needs to have, but also once you have it, you should be informative about it. But most people feel like, why am I gonna tell my next person because nobody told me? And so when they go with that vindictive attitude, or I'm gonna get somebody because somebody got me, then that's how it spreads a lot also. But it's illegal in the state of Georgia for you to be know that you're positive and go out and have sex with someone and then inform them.
It's illegal in the state of Florida. Yeah, it is illegal in the state of Florida. There are a lot of states that you have to, or you're supposed to, disclose your status if you know that you are HIV positive. And from my perspective, it's too late at that point. If you contract HIV I mean, you might feel like you want to go and I guess go call the police or go to court about it, but in reality, I'm going back to my point. That is no way to look at the resolve for something like that, or as it was. A lot of people, you might look at it today again with it being just a chronic illness. I talk to people during our HIV 101s, and I'm basically saying, hey, this is a responsibility that you don't necessarily want to have to deal with. The doctor wants to see you it once every 3 months, if you will. Those medications, the pharmaceutical companies want you taking those every day. You know what I mean? On time, every day. Is that something that you really, you want to, you yourself, you want to make sure that your viral loads are, or is it going to conflict with, I want to drink, is it going to conflict with that? Like, who wants to have to deal with that responsibility if you don't have to? When all you have to do is go get the person tested, or get the person tested. I mean, they have tests at all these stores. I'm not gonna name the stores, but they have all the tests at all these stores with these pharmaceutical, with the pharmacies in them that you could buy. They have take-home tests now. The place that I work for, you can come to us and we'll give you a test for free. Take-home test, Found Care, come get one. You know what I mean? Like, it's too easy. So
is Found Care just here in Florida, or is that nationwide?
It is not nationwide yet, but it is only here in Palm Beach County, actually. Right.
Okay.
But you guys, y'all also forgetting we in 2021. Every adult, if you go and get yourself checked, most places goes to LabQuest. You have my LabQuest, I can pull up my records all the way from 2010. So if you lay with somebody and they can't pull up my LabQuest, that's your bad. You deserve whatever you got coming to you. Pretty much. Because at that point, if you can't show me documentation, and it should be in your phone, this cute little green app, my Quest, it will pull up every lab they got on there. So me and you, we gonna compare notes for the last 10 years. Let's go. And if you don't have something within the last 3 months, why would I even chance my life? So every time you having sex with somebody, the number one thing you'll see on people page, trust no one, but you sleeping with everyone. That is your life.
Mom made a comment there.
Use extra precaution. Some HIV positive individuals contract them. Yes, exactly. That's why I said, would I date someone with HIV? If I'm interested in someone, their status is not going to be determination if I'm going to deal with them. The way I go forward from knowing, I will definitely take all the precaution, but half of the time you done probably slept with somebody that had HIV and you ain't even know it because they didn't give you the common courtesy. You just was blessed to not even contract it.
Right.
Yo.
Do they have HIV tests? I know they have them up here in Palm Beach County. At the 45th Street Flea Market, not Flea Market, damn it.
What?
On 45th Street Health Department. they have what is 20-second HIV test.
Oh.
Where you prick your finger or something, and then it drops into this little thing, and if it's one circle in the inside of it, you're negative. If 2 dots show up in the center of that thing, you're HIV positive. So you only got to wait 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
I don't trust that one like that though. I need your test to take a couple of weeks so they done did all this extra.
Listen. HIV test don't take weeks no more.
It don't take weeks no more.
It don't take you. Wait, you waited 1999?
No, I'm talking about by the time I see my results, they come on my phone like 2 weeks.
It don't need to take that long no more. They slow.
Honey, no, that's the way it comes on if you download my Quest, put in all your information, every test you have had, no matter if it's just to check your like hemoglobin, all them tests will pop up. If your social is linked to you, they will pop up. But that little drop thing, cause that day you could be clear. No, I ain't even fucking with it. I'm straight.
So hold on, Tony. Answer the what do they rate those tests right there, Ryan? How would you look at those tests?
That is okay. That 20-second test, you call it a 20-second test. I believe I call it a 60-second test. Okay.
Yeah, it's the longest.
Yeah, it's a 60-second test. Okay, but it's it's a 4th generation test, and it is more sensitive than all the tests before. It's just as accurate as all the tests before. Instead of the window period that I was talking to you about a few weeks
to get the test.
Go ahead, Roger.
The window period that I told you takes a couple of weeks because of the sensitivity of that test, that it would take a couple of weeks. The sensitivity of that 4th generation test is less. It cuts the window period down, I believe, from like 7 to 14 days. So, you know what I mean? So 7 to 14 days after infection, it's going to pop up on that 4th generation test.
So that's a good test.
Oh, it's a better test. Yes, it's a better test as far as industry standard goes.
But let me tell you, I done had to go take one of them tests a few times. And let me tell you something.
I cannot.
Because you wanted to go wrong.
Rodney, those are the longest seconds of your life. Especially when you know you've been high dogging before, and you like, come on, one dot. Come on, one dot. It's like you got dice in your hand, and you roll it. So what's on it?
Change your behavior. But
listen, you know what? Listen, I'm being serious. Every one of y'all are right, but there have been people who have practiced safe sex that have contracted HIV through sex.
Yep, they waited to marry somebody and they thought that person was on the up and wasn't.
So is go ahead.
So here we go. Get with the person, y'all gonna have sex, go first date, going to the clinic. You're gonna get tested. 3 months later, you're going to get tested. Now, mind you, I mean, yes, people cheat, people do all sorts of things. That goes without saying. So, I guess you'll have another show about relationships and compatibility and all that other good stuff. And
so far past that one.
You already had. I heard this. 21.
So, a man is dating 4 women at once. Should he use safe sex practice?
Yes.
Rhonda said yes.
Now, mind you, he should be getting those. He should ensure that those 4 women are getting tested. He should bring them all together.
No, they don't know each other. No. They think they don't know.
He's not doing it like that. Okay. Or he can go to the drugstore himself, grab the take-home kit, take it with him, test them all. Hey.
I know he ain't trying that like he doing the mannequin challenge.
Oh, they talking about y'all. Okay, inside teeth.
Yeah, that man, that box up under you is a full mess.
Yeah. But,
now, let me ask you this, Rodney. What inspired you to go into he jumped off the screen. What inspired you to go into this line of work?
What inspired? Wow. You know, I saw it was purposeful. It was gonna help people, it was gonna help the community. You know, it was more about the purpose. It was meaningful. It was purposeful, and I could see that. I could see where I could help people. I could see where it was. I could help educate people, and yeah, that basically that's what it is. That's what it was.
And how long you been in this field?
In May will be 9 years.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, May will be 9 years.
I'm still laughing. That fool said that'd be the longest 60 seconds of his life. I go to the doctor. I be like, here, ma'am, do you want me to read your results? My mom, everybody go with me to the doctor. I be like, go ahead. No pressure. Long as you know that thing come back wrong, I'm going to kill somebody, just so you know.
No.
It was nice meeting you, but you won't see me again.
So your organization, do they normally participate like in outreach activities and stuff like the function I saw you
at? We do street outreach, and when you saw me, I can't tell you how long ago that was, and then with this COVID thing, a lot of the outreach activities have been cut. We're coming back online, but you'll see us at schools, high schools, you'll see us in the streets, you'll see us at churches, you'll see us at health fairs, wherever the people are, that's where we are. It might be a block party. We'll be out at the block party, making sure.
So like here, you said you're only in Palm Beach County, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So let's say if I was having a function, and I want you or your organization to come to the function to set up a booth or set up a table or whatever and do your thing. How do we reach you?
Roberts at foundcare.org. Roberts at foundcare.org. You can reach me there, and then send me a flyer. Send me a flyer of the function.
And that's something that they can contact you individually, or they have to contact your organization, or how does that work?
Well, contacting me is like contacting the organization, because I'm going to inform my supervisor, what's going on and who wants us to be there. We'll take care of it. Yeah, just because you send it to me doesn't mean that I'm coming. We have a whole prevention team.
Okay.
If you need any protection, we have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of condoms. So you know how you used to go to the health department and pick up that brown bag of condoms. Come to Found Care and grab your brown bag of condoms. No problem.
Where are you located?
Found Care is located at 2330 South Congress Avenue, Palm Springs.
2330 South Congress. Is that near the old Columbia Hospital area?
That's in Atlanta. That's a little bit further. So we're talking about just maybe 500 feet south of Forest Hill Boulevard on Congress.
Okay, and you're on that end of West Palm. Okay, I'm in the other side. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Mello. HIV-AIDS is the last stage of HIV. AIDS is the last stage of HIV infection, but just because a person may be diagnosed with AIDS doesn't mean that you can count them out. It don't mean that you can count them out. The medications do work. People can live. There's not a reason to give up. I don't think there's ever a reason to give up. So, tell your people, whoever, to stay in the game.
Well, check this out, right?
Yo.
I understand, that and I'm rooting for everybody who has been going, who have to embark on that journey. I just want to just say that, and it ain't no disrespect to nobody, but that's why it's a good thing for preferences, because, I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't to knock nobody, and I can have all the information in the world about it. I also know that there's a train that, hold on. I also know that there's a train track that's right out there. And trains come across that bitch every day. And I have a choice to make on when that arm come down, do I stay behind that arm or do I try to beat this train? It's just so much safer for me to stay behind that damn arm, knowing that that train is gonna come. Everybody gonna do their thing. I'm just not messing with a damn train.
Let me ask you a quick question. You ready?
I got an answer for you.
I'm very ready.
In the past 5 years, this is a standard 1628 question. All right. In the past 5 years, have you had sex with anyone whose status you did not know?
No.
Okay. All right. All right.
Now, if you would have,
wait,
if you would have asked me,
I got you, Rodney. Hold on. Hold on. So,
if you would have asked me maybe 8 years ago, then I probably could have said yes.
In the last 5 years, every woman you had sex with, you took them to the doctor first.
I've already answered your question. I've already answered.
No, you did.
I've already answered. I've already answered
No,
the
he
question.
gave an answer. But Tony,
I gave you the answer.
Okay, so now I got a question for Tony.
It ain't about what
Tony,
you believe.
do you believe it?
Oh my.
So, but that's your choice.
Allegedly.
I can't. Exactly.
Allegedly.
He is telling you the whole. Your brother say the whole.
That's what my brother believes. My brother don't go with me or have done anything with me to know anything other than what he thinks.
And just for a fact, for the stats, I think 2018 are the last stats I believe that we have right now. So we know that 1 in 7 people does not know that they are HIV infected.
Right.
So out of 7 people that have it, 1 of those persons does not know that they have it.
Right.
All right.
That's what Donnell and I was talking earlier, that most people probably have already slept with somebody with HIV because chances are the person didn't tell you.
Yep.
It's possible.
Or like you said, they fine, they cute, they thick, they looking good. So in your mind, okay, you've been so naive and so crazy to think that because you look like that, they couldn't possibly have it.
Well, I was telling Tony earlier that back in the day I dated someone with HIV, and I knew they were positive. But we took the proper precautions, everything properly.
That's for you, Legacy.
I'm not even replying to that because none of that had nothing to do with me. So finish saying what you said, Donnell.
This boy is recorded.
Wait a minute, but you
said
said
that
look. You said the raw meat down the bottom. I'm down the bottom. I'm down the bottom. I'm screwed down.
He was talking about when Legacy made that comment about the raw meat part. That's where that comes from.
Only thing Legacy said was so a person can't do raw meat. I don't know where the rest of that shit came from. What he talking about? That was a question.
Oh my.
So,
okay.
Finish saying what you were saying.
But I dated the person. I'm still to this day negative. I don't have no antibodies. I have none. It was proper precautions. We used for the proper precautions and everything. I always kept condoms on me. I kept, proper whatever was needed, and certain things that I would do with other people, I did do with that person. And so,
Brother Legacy.
So, yes, sir.
One more question, man, because you're a respected gentleman, okay? And so
I hear you, baby.
So, is there any? Can you share with us your secret, if you will, on how you evade and avoid HIV for yourself? Because there might be some people that's watching that can learn from what you do to stay clear of HIV.
Well, what I would say is,
and other sex, and not just HIV, but other sexually transmitted infections.
Well, I would just tell every individual, what I do is if let's say I'm in a relationship, if I'm in a relationship and I want to be promiscuous outside of my relationship, there have been times where I have, like I say, where I have stepped out and did things that I shouldn't have done before, like that, taking those risks. But that was being so much younger. But I would tell anybody that, if the situation occurred, because everybody, I'm pretty sure some people have, some people haven't, there are such things as one night stands and things that people get so mixed up in things that shit happen. But now these days, I don't be as wild and crazy as I used to be, hoping that God remember me that he said he protects children and fools. So so
you're not a child, so that must put you in the fool category.
Yeah, so
right.
I had to do better and learn that if I was gonna step out in my relationship, that I would have to put on some protection. It's a thing that's uncomfortable because if you used to, let's say you're living in a house with a woman and you're used to being unprotected with that individual. and you're used to being, raw meatish. With
deal. Hey, you know what? Thank you, Mello. Your old brother say, boy, stop.
My brother don't put my penis in nobody. My brother don't put my penis in nobody.
But I can tell you, your brother look up to you like, boy, you the man of the hour.
I understand that, but Mello don't be in a room with me. But I would say this, right? By me being a little older than what I was, like I said, if you'd have asked me 8 years ago that question, I couldn't have been honest with you because I was going crazy. But who I am now, I can't do that and don't do it. As wild as I was, if I went from just being out here just doing what I want to ride, and you knew me at that time.
He almost told on himself.
You knew me at that time. I ain't almost said nothing. But if you knew me at that time, we used to be at city council and things like that. You knew I was wild and crazy. But who I am now, I don't have to worry about that thing like that like I used to because I don't do as much wild and crazy stuff as I used to.
Okay. All right. So at this point, you would encourage the people to use protection.
Yes.
So you would encourage the people to get their partners tested before having sex with their partner.
I have sons that are 22, and 19, 18, 17, and 18. So I'm like, you have to tell them this because I wouldn't want them to end up going down that path, and I have to help with them because I didn't inform them of the things that are out here. So I definitely
we have to tell our girls too. We need to stop this stuff.
Well, my daughter is 8, so I ain't got nobody to tell nobody that too.
Legacy, you're not answering the people.
I'm talking to Tony. I'm not dealing with what he's talking about. I'm talking to Rodney. But I personally tell my kids that that are out here doing grown folks thing that they need to put on protection.
All right. Okay.
That is true because my daughter, my first daughter was born when I was 14. So protection definitely needed because anything could have happened. It couldn't have just resulted in a baby. It could have resulted in any diseases or anything. Yeah, that's true.
All right. And we do know that the state of Florida, I believe last we looked, is number 3 as far as HIV infections are concerned. The state of Florida, number 3.
Really?
Yeah. We are number 3 as far as new HIV infections are concerned in the state of Florida. Okay, so And I
Who's
believe
number 1 and 2, Rodney?
that's a good question. I didn't bring those stats. My bad. And no disrespect to those people that's watching that's outside of Florida. I just didn't come with everybody's numbers because
in his 50s. He wished.
So
he just got an old soul.
Yes, goodness.
Number 3. What, Rodney? When you talking about number 3, you're talking about statewide, right?
Yes.
What is West Palm Beach, and what is the highest area inside of the state of Florida?
Did I tell you I didn't bring all those numbers? No.
I thought you were talking about statewide that you didn't bring those. I thought you would just hold those in there.
No, I'm just pulling that out of my cap right now.
I got you.
Right. And I see, and all of us are people of color right now. So not to exclude everybody else, but we do know that we people of color make up about 48% of new HIV infections and infected people.
Dang.
And we only make up about 13% of the population.
Well, that's why I thank goodness, and I thank God every day that I am married. That's something I do not have to worry about.
Amen, amen. Congratulations, man, because everybody ain't able to find, a wife or a husband. Yeah. And I did want to say that it's not for people that make marriage look bad. It's not marriage that's bad. It's the people that's getting married that don't know what they get married to and the commitment they supposed to make.
Actually getting married for all the wrong reasons, just so they can walk around and say, I'm married.
I'm married, right?
Yeah. Married
right. I'm too old for that. I'm too old for that. I am way too old for that. But I don't have to worry about nobody creeping around. I don't have to worry about catching nothing outside. It's a blessing. It really, really is. Honestly, it is. But I don't creep around. I'm too old for that.
So, Mr. Rodney,
sir,
I noticed that just in my watching what you do and how you was interacting with people in the community as far as your services, like you personally, I don't know about your organization, don't necessarily discriminate as far as individuals' lifestyles.
Right.
Because our show is very diverse.
Okay.
Okay. Legacy is the heterosexual man. I'm the gay man.
Okay. Really? I couldn't tell.
And TeAma's the bisexual girl.
I can't tell. Okay.
So we have the whole spectrum is covered.
Awesome.
And you got an extra gay down here.
Okay. So what I do is for everybody, regardless of what your preference is or your sexuality is, if you will. So it's not, I come from a non-biased place. Period. I'm a non-biased person. I try to be as non-biased as possible. So it's like I say, what I do is not. Now, mind you, some of the grants that I might work up under, it might be tailor-made for people of color. It might be tailor-made. It might be tailor-made for sisters of color. It might be tailor-made for men that have sex with men. That grant requirements, if you will. But me as an individual, if I'm out there on the street, I don't have any bias. I don't. What you do is what I don't. What you do don't make me horny. That's, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Live your life. I want you to be safe. So when you look at the stats and they're talking about 50% of black men that have sex with black men are going to contract HIV over a lifetime. That's not, that's our problem, because you having sex for a couple hours or whatever has nothing to do with me needing you to vote or me needing you to be out here in these streets helping to protect what we have as a people, or you participating in what we have as a people. So Yeah.
Tell me this. I had heard this was years ago. Someone was telling me that, like, let's say if you have oral sex, and the saliva, the acid in the saliva, supposedly does something to the semen. As far as, like, let's say if the person if the person is giving oral sex to the guy, and let's say he's HIV positive, and he ejaculates in her mouth. Not
Her
her
mouth
semen,
or his mouth? What?
his or her,
Anybody.
his or her mouth.
He labeled it. I heard a label. Okay.
Does the saliva does something to the sperm, or is that just rumored, or that's something I heard years ago?
I would call it a rumor. Me personally, we do know that oral sex is the least riskiest form of sex, and so I was, once HIV hits the air, it starts to die. If there are no open cuts or open wounds or anything for the HIV virus to get into, so that there is that exchange of bodily fluids, then you're not going to contract HIV.
But wouldn't that be an exchange if they swallow and stuff like that? That is definitely an exchange.
Yeah, it is. And
yeah.
And what I want to say is, when you look at the stats, hardly anyone is contracting HIV orally. However, when they did do the studies, the person did swallow. The person did swallow.
Right? Wait a minute.
So, but again, the numbers are so low as far as oral infection is concerned. It's really not counted at this point. But and the studies that they showed did say that the person did swallow the semen. So
no, ma'am.
So it does make a difference. My favorite. Okay. Yeah.
You can teach your kid abstinence, but you definitely also put that safe sex in there, because when kids get away from their parents,
my biggest thing with that, with when it comes to faith, if you will, is that I don't know what that does with respect to hormones. It's not like a person's sexuality or a person's want for sex is spiritual in a sense. Hormones exist. People get horny.
It sure is. Come on.
It's a natural thing. It's like your body is built to have sex at some point in time. Like, you have those mechanisms, if you will. So I respect the faith. I respect the abstaining. It's 100% effective against STIs, for real. So that's cool, but it's like, that's like with the PrEP. You are still supposed to use a condom, but hey, if we have this PrEP on the inside, just in case the condom breaks or something like that, we're teaching abstinence, but hey, this is how you use a condom, or this is how you protect yourself, or this is the type of person that you want to be involved with, versus, just saying, I don't know what people are telling kids.
On top of your head, what is the youngest age that you have tested or know of that have contracted HIV or AIDS? And the reason I asked that question is because years ago I used to work for LabCorp, which is they where they test the blood and the urine and all that. But I was a data entry billing clerk. I used to do medical billing for LabCorp. And when we did the medical billing, we would see the name, age, date of birth, and all that, and then we would see the test and the results, and we would enter all that information into the computer. And I almost cried because I saw it was a child, a youth. I think she was 12 or 13, and was positive. And I was like, oh. And I paused as I was entering the information because I saw the age, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And it took me for a minute because I'm like, "Damn, their life just beginning." And that was years ago when contracting it was a death threat.
But maybe they contracted it, Tony, through. Maybe they've been living with it for 13 years already.
Their whole life, because the youngest person is straight out the mother's womb with HIV.
Right, very much possible. But my mindset went to these fast tail children. They're out there doing what they ain't got no business doing. She caught AIDS.
Could have caught it from being molested.
It could have been. But
I can tell you this from knowing the kid that is born with HIV, they test that child every 6 months. But the strand of tests that they do on that child is a little bit more extensive than what they do as a normal test.
So back to your question, Rodney, what's the youngest that you've seen?
To tell you the truth, I remember an individual, but it was so long ago, I really can't. I want to say around 16, but we're testing at 13. A child can come in and get tested at 13. So, that's standard numbers, right?
How often do you see kids walk in your establishment?
Is that with or without parent?
That's what I was going to ask. With or without?
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
If without.
So it's anonymous.
I mean, this is anonymous to the parent.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is because there may be children watching right now that says, "Hey, I'm out here having sex. I want to get tested, but I don't want my mom in my business because I want her to know that I'm having sex."
Oh yeah, come to found care. I mean, they can come to found care. I mean, they can come to found care and get tested.
So Rodney, you were telling me that by law, a child can't sign their name or do something like that until they're 18. That a child can walk into a facility at the age of 13 where their parents are their guardian and have something done like that without y'all notifying the parent?
Yeah. Yes.
So what? Let me just ask, because there has to be a law that covers that protection, that makes that, because a child can't even sign his name to his school paperwork for his mama until he's 18. So I'm just trying to see how can that child sign legal documents through you guys or any other organization without notifying their parents of this right here.
I mean, well, just to throw it out there real quick, at this point, all we need is, and I just went to the 501 training a few months ago, the paper that we used to have people sign, and we still have them sign it just like a standard operating procedure, but I don't need them to sign a sheet of paper. I just need verbal authorization from them.
Right. Can I say something, Rodney? Because just like Mark Chung just said, because you have a lot of teenage runaway hookers and stuff that are out there, and they need to be tested. They don't have a parent to say, hey, he can get tested, she can get tested. Because they run away from home, or either they've been put out of their home, and all they can do for a living is a sex trade. And so I agree with that totally, that teenager may need to go and get tested, because if you don't have a parent, how would you be able to get tested? So I believe that's a good thing. That actually is a really good thing.
Legacy.
Anybody can walk into a CVS and buy an AIDS test, just so y'all know.
HIV test.
Yeah, HIV test.
Say what, Rodney?
I'm saying that.
You're talking about a public health threat. Mm-hmm. It's a public health threat, so that's why it goes beyond talking about a signature of parents. The parents don't know what the kids doing half the time these days, anyway. So and that's with respect to them having sex in the first place. So for them to come down and do the responsible thing of getting tested, that's needed so that we can stop this spread. It's about stopping the spread. It's
Right.
not
I agree.
about how the parents feel. Yeah. And
So if you test the child and it come up positive,
I'm sorry.
if you test the child and it comes up positive, do you then inform the parent?
Nope.
No.
You still don't. Okay.
I mean,
The only way the parent get drawn into it if they're at a health department and the health department actually collect that, or Planned Parenthood, like my mom is telling you. Because once you go there, then they reach out to the parent.
Planned Parenthood is the same way. Melanie said no parent is necessary. Let's see what Nikisha has to say. Well, girls at the age of 16 can go into Planned Parenthood and get meds for STIs. They can also get an abortion. Oh wow, without the parents knowing.
Oh,
well, that's crazy.
I never knew that one. That's a whole
crazy.
procedure.
That's crazy.
So if something go wrong, Planned Parenthood, they will probably get sued.
No, because
But
I
actually,
guarantee.
no. In the state of Florida, once you give birth, you are considered emancipated adult.
To some degree.
Since 1998.
I didn't ask when. I said to some degree.
No, full degree. They will put your butt in prison, put your butt in jail, give you a charge and everything after you give birth. Mind you, I am 38. My son is 22. Once you give birth, I was 15 years old going on 16. I was considered an emancipated adult. Period.
There's a loophole.
Yeah, that loophole, my mama would have lost if she would have tried to sue anybody. Look it up. If your teen has a child, that kid is considered an emancipated adult. I was 2 weeks shy of being 16.
Ask Miss Nikisha.
Hold on. Miss Melanie. I got something to square up with Miss Melanie real quick. You gonna bring your mom onto the show, or are we gonna do it over the air?
Over the air, that's what you said.
That's what you said, over the air.
Okay, I got something to clear up real quick with Miss Melanie, since I see her in the comment section.
She waiting.
We had a bet with Miss Melanie, who's in the comment section. I was saying that she probably have nasty pies and she can't make no sweet potato pie. So TeAma, her daughter right here, kept saying, "Oh, my mom likes the best pies and da 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 da." So me and Miss Melanie had a bet. If her pie was nasty, I was gonna say it here on the show and let her and her pie have it. If her pies was good, he said that I needed to sing her favorite song by Jeffrey Osborne?
Jeffrey Osborne.
But since I'm not a vocalist, I asked the Apostle to come on the show and sing a verse for me.
But that ain't what the deal was.
So let me handle this.
He got her song though.
So
oh God, you soloed me out, really? Oh wow. Wow, my big fat face on the screen. Don't do that. All right. I don't know the whole song, so Miss Melanie.
That's okay.
I just know the chorus.
Just do that for me. Get me off the hook.
Miss Melanie, Miss Melanie. Let me say this, Miss Melanie. You did not go and buy Tony no Patti LaBelle pies and.
Go ahead.
Oh Lord.
Help me
Did he really remove him from the screen?
And let me tell you, Tony will tell you, you cannot misconstrue Melanie's cob pie with a Patti LaBelle pie. No. Patti LaBelle pie won't even make the mustard at our house.
Yes. I must say the pie was delicious. It was creamy. It was smooth. You could taste the lemon. You could taste the nutmeg, the cinnamon. It wasn't too sweet. It wasn't too overbearing. It was all that. And I think I'm going to get another one real soon.
Okay, all my money go on my mama for cooking.
So,
baby got the juice.
So Don Allen, please get me off the hook.
Okay.
I got you, Rodney. I'm gonna get you a pie boo. I got you.
Okay. We're going all the way. If the two of us both want it, I lay my money on. starting today. We're going all the way. My vocals is not where they should be.
Thank you, Diana. I appreciate it so much. Oh, look who's back.
Love you, mommy.
Thank you, Miss Melanie. I love you. I love the pie. Appreciate it so much.
Legacy, why are you looking like that?
Because I mean, y'all, you missed the whole concept of what I said. Talking about, you made it sound like I was saying your mama pies was nasty. What I said was, you let Tony off the hook again because he did not perform what he said. Don Allen performed it. I said your mama didn't, hold on, I said your mother didn't send him a Patti LaBelle pie as an imitation of her pie. So Don Allen was the one supposed to have the song.
Sing that verse for him so he begged you to never sing again in your life.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do
it. From here to the door.
Hey, Legacy, I promise you, if Tony sang, everybody go abruptly leave.
If I sing, they'll cancel our show. We won't be on the air no more.
We gonna be blocked for at least
I can't.
365.
Look, they gonna stop the stream like they did on me last night. They gonna stop the stream right in the middle. Everybody gonna be watching, it's gonna be a black screen. The stream has been stopped until the howling of the bear stops.
Going to disappear. Okay. No, but seriously, Tony did all of y'all a favor.
Thank you so much.
Nobody in the house over there can sing not one lick.
She not lying. And Miss Melanie laughing.
But just so y'all know, Melanie Cobb can blow.
And cook and bake.
Amen. Amen.
And Melanie Cobb, Miss Melanie Cobb, I want to see you on my show tomorrow night. Oh yeah.
We will be there, boo.
Yeah.
Hey, Nikisha.
Let me see here. Tell us about your show, Don Allen.
Oh, tomorrow night is the Chill Zone, WTCZ Music Box Radio, every Monday and every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can look me up on www.youtube.com/DmanABC3. The call-in number is 682-200-9345. Call in and request your favorite songs. It's basically a radio station on YouTube. I'm on for about 2 hours. And we're gonna have a good time. It's a chill vibe. It's a chill zone.
It is a straight party. Don't be lying to them. It be a straight party.
Party, yeah.
All the way down to Mr. Legacy be like, don't go off.
Legacy,
you killed that.
You should join me tomorrow night, Mr. Rodney. Come on.
You see my mama? She say, okay.
Yeah, I don't do a panel anymore. Be playing music and taking requests.
He kicked the A.T.L to the curb.
Okay. What kind of music you play? What kind of music you play?
I play all kinds of music. I play whatever you request. 70s, 80s, 90s, 60s, whatever.
Okay, it's a job fair coming, you guys. Thursday, February 25th. Go get them coins.
So for more information for that, you can either hit up Reverend Masters on Facebook, or you can hit up Marky Job TV or Alicia James on Facebook for more information on there's a job fair coming up. So go out and get them coins.
Miss Millie Mill.
And also just to remind you guys that our intro song and our outro song at the beginning and end of our show, it's compliment. The music was produced by Justin Brown. He's out of is he in Georgia, Legacy?
Valdosta, Georgia.
Hey, Tony, you need to move Rodney's info because you can't see the bottom of the flight.
There we go. So yeah, so you can contact him if you want some music done or for your shows or whatever.
And Justin, I see you trying to be like me. But we ain't gonna get into that. Beatbox.
The brother's a music producer.
Monday was.
Did she say all the way up?
Yeah.
All the way up. Yeah.
Okay. My mama was in her house singing her head off.
I enjoyed doing it. I did, and I can't wait to do it again tomorrow.
I
I'm
just
so
want to
excited.
remind everybody, if you're new to our show, definitely hit the subscribe button. It would mean the world to us. We appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. And definitely like and share and comment. And well, you're already commenting below. We appreciate that as well. Anything else? Anybody else to say? Anything else you want to say? Anything else, Rodney?
Just remind everybody to get tested. Remind everybody that you can't just look at a person and tell whether or not they have HIV. The only way to know whether a person has HIV or not is to get tested. Again, a condom will prevent you from having to deal with a whole lot of extra responsibilities in life. If you, if just be safe, my people. Be safe. And get tested. Don't be scared of the results, because HIV is not a death sentence anymore. People live long, healthy, fruitful lives with HIV. With no pressure.
Show you right.
I would ask for you to be honest with yourself, be honest with other people. If you're not able to be honest with other people, just stay to yourself until you're ready to be honest with other people. Because it's the conflict that you have to deal with within yourself and with other people is not worth it at the end of the day. And you wouldn't know that until after you get yourself into it and not able to get yourself out of it. And that's just hopefully that's words of wisdom, if you will. Anything else?
Anything else? Remember, if you don't have it, you have to take precaution, because there are people out here, once they get it, they want it to be the gift that keep on giving. That literally happened to somebody me and my mom hold close and dear, and they're young, and their life was taken away just by them loving somebody. Like their whole life had to change just because they loved somebody and they trusted that person, and that person made sure he gave it to enough people. So it is people. You could be as safe as you want to be and want them to be honest with you. It is some people that once they get it, they just feel they want to have that gift to be a gift that keep on giving. I got it. Somebody didn't give me it.
Somebody
Give it
else
to me and didn't tell me. I'm going to give it to everybody. So I ain't gonna go through this alone. So you gotta watch out for those, especially.
And Mr. Tony,
I'm dying, so everybody
and the
else
whole
gonna
panel.
die.
I don't think that there's a right or wrong answer to the initial question as far as would a person date a person that has HIV. I think it's up to the individual, and if the individual cares to deal with that, that's a great thing. That you have people that are out there that are built for that. You know what I'm saying? They have that heart, they have that compassion, they have that understanding. So versus other people that may not, have that heart or that understanding. So that's what it is.
Well, definitely thank you for coming on to the show tonight. I appreciate it. I'm sorry that the other person didn't show up. We had another person who was supposed to be a fitness trainer. For whatever reason, he didn't show up. No call, no show. But guess what? As Legacy often tell me, one monkey don't stop no show, and the show must go on. And you held it down for the both of you, so you made it happen.
Rodney.
Yo, brother.
Man, it's been a blessing having you out here tonight. I mean, you and DA, appreciate y'all, but just the information that you have shared with us and the public tonight has been so tremendous and great. There are other things that I would know that I would like to have you on the show about different topics, because I know you're very informative about, when it comes to some form of litigation, when it comes to city council and different laws and policies that the city is allowed to, yes, definitely.
Hey, anytime, like I said, this wonderful set that y'all have here is beautiful, beautiful people. So, yeah, anytime.
Okay. Anything else you want to say, TeAma?
I'm sorry.
Nope, that's pretty much. I like the Black History for tonight.
Thank you, dear.
Always bring it. Always.
But the crazy thing is, I already knew all of that, and I'm gonna tell you how. My ex-wife was Haitian, and I also was a member of a Haitian church. So they taught us a lot of that. They taught a lot of that. I learned a lot. So I was like, okay, he just refreshing my memory.
So that's a good thing then.
Okay. Hold on just a moment.
I was involved briefly with a married man who believed he had the courage to leave his wife to be with me and to live his truth. This isn't the typical story of a married man promising to leave his wife for a secret lover. Rather, this is a story in part about a gay man who knew he was gay before he got married, but chose to marry a woman because he didn't know how to break free. Rocky and I met on a gay social media site 3 months after I returned to the East Coast to live, and just 11 months after he was married. At the time we met, he was living and working in Dubai as a contractor for the government on a military base, while his wife was stationed in Tallahassee, Florida, where they had a home. In one of the first messages he sent me, Rocky shared that he was married, but that he had regrets. He explained that he had come out to his mother and siblings when he was 18 years old. He sat there. To listen to more of One Thing for Certain, Two Things for Sure, a memoir continued, visit audible.com.
If you don't know T.S. Madison,
The internet queen and icon.
get ready.
Yes!
She's not just chasing superstardom.
I want to have my own version of The Talk, The Real, The View.
She demands it.
You better build a whole entire empire out of this.
And with her bestie Tiffany on board,
Tiffany, you look so beautiful this morning. Your tatas are sitting so high.
this journey's gonna be a trip.
I just got a shiver in my back and it ain't a man.
The T.S. Madison Experience premieres Thursday, March 4th on WeTV.
Just-in-time accessories definitely have the bling and everything in between. TeAma Copeland is your independent paparazzi agent. Join her live online Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join her on Facebook at TeAma Sweetness Copeland, or her fan page, Just-in-Time Accessories, or you can find her on YouTube at Teama Herice. That once again is Just-in-Time Accessories. Everything is only $5. Nickel and lead-free jewelry. TeAma Copeland, independent paparazzi agent. Just-in-Time Accessories definitely have the bling and everything in between. Check her out.
That's it for tonight. I don't have anything else I want to discuss. I think we've basically covered everything. Now you promoted your new show, your new series. TeAma sitting right here. She's the one with the jewelry. So make sure y'all reach out to TeAma to get your $5 jewelry. What you doing? Doing a shimmy shimmy?
He doing the TeAma.
Taking his double D's.
And in the words of the great legacy, A.T.L. ho.
And on that note, good night, everybody.
My nigga too for the goat, these other niggas basic.
Say what? No nigga wrist a silver chain around his neck. Say what? A.T.L show coming for their neck. Say what? We gon' say it all different from the rest. Say what? A.T.L show, know that we the best. Say what? Yeah, who was that? A.T.L show coming live, speak about the world. Know that we the show. We got Anthony, TeAma, Legacy, the podcast. On God, we're taking over with the A.T.L show.
My nigga too for the goat, these other niggas basic.
Say what? No nigga wrist a silver their neck. Say what? We gon' say it all different from the rest. Say what? A.T.L show, know that we the best. Say what? Yeah, who was that? A.T.L show, coming live, speak about the world. Know that we is still. We got Anthony, TeAma, Legacy, the podcast. On God, we're taking over with the A.T.L show.